As some of you can tell, I really love music, and it's pretty much my whole life. Like, I really love music. And so far, I have over 1,300 pieces in my collection. That is right, you heard me right. 1,300 pieces and counting. There's a lot I have not even put into Discogs yet. And some of them date back past the 1950s, the 1930s, the 1910s, and even before 1900, into the 1890s. But today we all know what a cassette, a CD, and a record look like. Maybe you have them, maybe your parents have them, maybe a friend has them. Maybe you saw them on YouTube or TikTok. Or you're just getting into this sort of scene of collecting physical media. But what if I were to tell you there's even weirder pieces of these physical medias that you might not know about if you're just starting to get into the scene, or if you're not as hardcore into a lot of this weird stuff as I am, because pretty much it's taken over my life. So today I'm going to tell you about more of the unique pieces in my physical media collection, just to give you kind of a crash course on the even more bizarre stuff out there. Starting off with one some might know, but it's a good icebreaker to start this, the 8-track. Now this is David Bowie's Heroes. I'm going to show you a more in-depth version of it. That's what it looks like. It almost resembles like a big chunky cassette tape, if you're familiar with those. Now for some people they say it was the most amazing sound, it was very convenient. But for most people, they're a hassle to use, and some people say it was the worst thing since those like weird 1960s Beatles imitation bands. You know the ones. You've seen them, you've been fooled by them, like I have. Now these 8 tracks most of the times couldn't fit the correct order of the album in the correct sequence due to the certain amount of time given on each part of the tape, which led to some really weird and scary track listings overall. Like the monster under your bed seems like a damn bunny rabbit compared to listening to Dark Side of the Moon on 8-track. Like, what the hell were they thinking? That looks like the worst nightmare you can imagine. With ongoing problems for the 8 tracks and cassettes becoming more of the norm and more popular than them, they kind of just started fading out of existence. And personally, I haven't seen one that dates past the early 80s. Now, next up is probably the most massive record in my collection at 16 inches in diameter. This is a transcription disc, and this one is red. It is semi-translucent, like I can see through it, but not a lot. Now this is the most annoying one in the store, I swear to God, because normally they're 12 inches. This one is not. This is a monster. Now you probably have never heard of a lot of these, unless you have a record store that deals in this type of stuff, or radio station, which this one is. This is actually from Hollywood, California. And this one is four-wheeling in the Riders of the Purple Sage on both sides. It's programmed and these are used for radio broadcasts. Apparently, they had these massive types of players, and from what I've been told, they are really good quality. I've never been able to hear one in person, mainly because you can't put them on a turntable. It's like 12 inches, and some of them just start hanging off if you have those weird suitcase ones. God knows what that would do. That would pretty much destroy the whole thing if you tried to put it on it. Now, I wouldn't recommend these if you don't really have one of these players, but I would recommend it if you are an avid music fan and would like to get this framed. That's what I'm going to plan to do with this one, is to frame it just because it has a nice color on it, and it would look better framed than sitting on a shelf for me. Now, a lot of you seen that weird little tube on the back, and here it is. You might have thought it was a toilet paper roll. You'd be wrong. This is a cylindrical phonograph, as a lot of them can be called, or this one is an Edison record. Look, Thomas Edison taking more stuff. Whatever. But these are probably the most weirdest piece in my collection, and I love these. These are made of a blend of brown and molded wax and celluloid. Now, the brown wax is made of a metal soap, and technically you could wash yourself with this. Please don't. That'd be weird to just see yourself in a shower with a record. No, don't do that. And these records are mainly 2 to 3 minutes in length, as they really can't hold much more than that. Sometimes you'll find some that hold, I think, up to 4 minutes, even though that can be, I think it's rare. And there are correct players for these, but they are expensive. Like, the last one I've seen was $250, and no way in hell am I paying that. I was lucky enough to get these for like $2 a piece. Even though they're made of wax, they look durable, they feel durable. These are fragile. One guy broke one on TV. You can break them if you just grip them hard enough. So just be careful if you have these and want to play them. One recommendation I always would give, do not pinch them when you pull them out. I always put my fingers inside and hold it like that. It's a lot easier to grip it, and they go right inside the little case for it. Now this one is from, I think, 1907, but I do have one up on my shelf that is dated 1898. And somehow Thomas Edison ruins another type of thing with his Edison Diamond Disc. Because who doesn't want a record made of clay that is 1/4 of an inch thick? You heard me right. That is 1/4 of an inch thick. What in the ever-living hell? I'm gonna pull up, I have a normal shellac record. These are pretty much from around the same time. I believe this one is 1911. This one is, who cares? It's an RCA one, but you can tell. Look, that is a bizarre mix-up. And I do have the original sleeve for this, which was cool, but I keep it in its own little sleeve just to be safe with it. Now, for these, you couldn't play these on your normal record player if you had, like, the Victrola 2 and stuff like that back then, that you played your normal 78s on. No, you had to get an Edison Diamond Disc player, and I believe even there was a certain type of stylus too. So pretty much, oh look, cool record. Nope, we gotta get a whole new contraption just to play this thing. This is like hefty. I wouldn't say this is a pound, but this is at least like 8 ounces or like 10 ounces. This is chunky compared to the other one. Pretty much these seem just more like a cash grab from him. And unless you're really, really a fan of the diamond discs somehow, I wouldn't pick them up unless you just want to display them. They do look weird because the label itself is kind of black and you can only see it when it's like really shiny. But yeah, pretty much cheap cash grab. Get yourself a normal 78 player. You can find them anywhere. And the last one up on my list, we have mini CDs, or pocket CDs as they are called. Basically, it's a small CD. It's the size of a GameCube disc, literally. These 3 are sealed, and I had one opened, so I will show you it open. There were some interesting ones put out. Like, I know there's a Michael Jackson one. There's probably another one out there, like different style and all that. That is pretty much a GameCube disc. I do have blanks of these, but still. This is so inconvenient. It even says on the back, I'll read it. Contains a 3-inch CD which is compatible with most but not all. Why the hell would you make a CD that cannot be played on most CD players or whatever the hell? Like, logic there. Like, a lot of them aren't produced, so good luck finding them. You can find them on eBay, but you're going to spend a good chunk of money probably. Like, I know one that's like $15 for something that's like the size of your thumb. Like, what the hell? I was lucky enough to find these for like $1 a piece. That's the only reason I picked them up. Plus, I like weird music. Okay, so that was a good chunk of my weird physical media from my collection. Now, let me know in the comments, do you have any of these types of weird physical media? Or do you have some that I don't have? Because I would love to know more about this. Because obviously, I like music. I know a lot of music. But there's still some stuff I don't know. So I would love to hear your stuff in the comments. And if you liked the video, just let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever to get. See you in the next one.